We've all been on a school trip. They're supposed to be fun, a little bit of learning, maybe some harmless mischief. But what happens when that trip into the beautiful mountains turns into a journey into absolute, horrifying darkness? Well, today, we're breaking down a story that starts with laughter and ends in a total nightmare.
So, I want you to picture this. You've got a bus jam-packed with students from Delhi, and they're all headed to the beautiful hills of Nainital. The energy on that bus is just electric. Kids are singing at the top of their lungs, dancing in the aisles. They have absolutely no idea what the night has in store for them. It's this perfect snapshot of pure joy, right before everything goes horribly wrong. And that, right there, is where our story takes a very, very dark turn. Because as the sun starts to set, and that bus climbs higher and higher onto those winding mountain roads, something ancient and truly evil is just waiting. So how did this dream trip spiral into such chaos? Let's get into it.
All right, so our story kicks off with part 1, A Trip to Terror. This is where that first little crack appears in their perfect, happy world.
Now, before we go any further, you gotta know who we're dealing with. First, there's Neha, and she's the one who sees it all happen. Then we have her best friend, Pooja, and Pooja's little brother, Rohan. Just 3 friends on an adventure, about to become the center of a living nightmare.
And that brings us to part 2, the uninvited passenger. And believe me, this is the exact moment the horror decides to climb aboard.
Okay, so this is where things get really intense really fast. It's dark, they're on this lonely road, and suddenly a woman holding a baby flags them down. The teacher's trying to be helpful, let her on, but after a big bump in the road, Neha glances over and sees the baby's face, and it's a skeleton, literally crawling with worms. She screams, obviously, but the woman just laughs and shows everyone else a perfectly normal, healthy baby. As she gets off the bus, she accidentally drops a small toy. Rohan, being a kid, picks it up, and then the warning. The thing only Neha sees. The woman, without moving her body at all, twists her head a full 180 degrees and gives her this absolutely demonic smile. And of course, nobody believes her. Not a single person. They just brush it off, telling her she's tired, that her mind is playing tricks on her. And in that one moment, Neha is completely and utterly alone. She's the only one who knows the real danger they're in, but to everyone else, she just sounds crazy. And just as Neha is desperately trying to convince her teacher, there's this huge bang. A flat tire, wouldn't you know it? So now they're stranded on this mountain for the night, and they're forced to check into a nearby hotel. Coincidence, or did they just walk right into a trap?
This leads us right into part 3, the cursed toy's grip. The danger isn't just outside anymore. It's now inside their hotel room, and it has its hooks and its next victim.
Back in their hotel room, Rohan is different. He becomes completely obsessed with that little toy he picked up. He won't let it out of his sight. He's whispering to it like it's alive, just totally captivated. The cursed object has found its connection. Pooja, who's just annoyed with her brother's weird obsession, finally snatches the toy and chucks it right out the window. Rohan's reaction is terrifying. He starts screaming uncontrollably, demanding his toy back. And then, bam, the lights go out, pitch black. When Pooja manages to get her phone's flashlight on just a few seconds later, Rohan has completely vanished from the locked room. The desperate search for Rohan leads us straight into the heart of the terror. Welcome to part 4, Confronting the Witch.
So Neha and Pooja are in a full-blown panic. They run out into the dark woods, screaming Rohan's name. And then they hear it, his voice. It's weak, it's scared, and it's coming from a dark pit right nearby. He's begging his big sister to come and save him.
But when they get to the edge of the pit and shine a light down, Rohan isn't there. It's just the toy. And it's mimicking his voice perfectly, luring them deeper and deeper into the forest. That's the moment the horror truly sinks in. They haven't been following Rohan this whole time. They've been following the curse.
Totally terrified, they just run. They eventually stumble upon this old, desolate house. Thinking they can get help, they burst inside, only to find the same woman from the bus. She just calmly claims it's her house and says no, she can't help them find their brother.
And this, right here, is the final, horrifying twist. The baby that the woman is holding, it's not a baby, it's Rohan. And his eyes are glowing a demonic red.
The second Neha realizes this, the woman's form just melts away, and she transforms into this monstrous witch. And then Rohan, possessed, starts crawling backwards, defying gravity, straight up the wall and out of the house. So the chase is on. The witch is literally flying after them through the woods. Then she conjures this illusion, a battered, bloody version of Rohan, crying for Pooja to help him. Neha screams, "That's not him, it's a trap!" But Pooja is just overcome. She runs towards her brother, and in that split second, the witch swoops down and snatches them both, disappearing into the darkness. Neha, somehow, is the only one who makes it out alive.
Which brings us to our final section, where we try to understand the why behind all this horror. This is Part 5, A Vengeful Spirit's Tale.
Neha is found unconscious on the side of the road the next morning. When she finally wakes up, she gets the devastating news. The bodies of Pooja and Rohan have been found. To the authorities, it's just a tragic, unexplained accident. But Neha knows the truth.
A local villager is the one who finally gives her an answer. The thing they encountered is known as a chudail, a vengeful spirit. And in this folklore, it's usually the ghost of a woman who died a violent, unjust death. Her rage is so powerful it tethers her to the world, forcing her to seek revenge. So you see, this wasn't just some random haunting, it was personal.
And here's the story behind it all. Years ago, a woman and her young son lived on that exact piece of land. Some developers wanted to build a hotel there, but she refused to sell. So they murdered her and her child and threw their bodies off a cliff. Now her spirit haunts that forest, getting her revenge by taking any children who wander onto her territory. She isn't just killing, she's reliving her own trauma, taking a child, just like her child was taken from her. The students weren't targeted because they were bad people. They were targeted simply because they were there.
But understanding the why, it doesn't make the horror go away. Because Neha learns one last absolutely bone-chilling detail from the police. When they found Rohan's body, that little toy was lying right beside him, and its eyes were still glowing.
The witch got her victims, that's true. But the toy, the object that anchors her to our world, it's still active. Which leaves us with one final haunting question. Is the curse truly over, or is it just waiting for someone else to pick it up?